Hare, Hare Krishna dear devotees, welcome to the Bhagavatam class. Today the verse is 3.29.35. First we'll do some kirtan and then we'll start the verse. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanarana Yashodanandana Vrajajanarana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Shila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Shila Prabhupada नित्य गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय all glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada की जय So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3 chapter 29 verse number 35 Bhakti yogascha Bhakti yogascha Maya manavi udhirta Maya manavi udhirita Yo Yayorekatareinaiva Yayorekatareinaiva Purusha Purusham Vrajet Purusha Purusham Vrajet Bhakti yogascha Maya manave udhirita Yayor ekatarinaiva Purusha Purusham Vrajet Word to word translation. Bhakti Yoga, devotional service, cha, and yoga, mystic yoga, cha, also, Maya, by me, Manavi, O daughter of Manu, Udirita, describe, Yao, of which two, Ekatarena, by either one, Eva, alone, Purusha, a person, Purusham, the supreme person, Vrajet, can achieve. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. My dear mother, O daughter of Manu, a devotee who applies the science of devotional service and mystic yoga in this way can achieve the abode of the Supreme Person simply by that devotional service. Purport. Herein, the Supreme Personality of Godhead perfectly explains the mystic yoga, consisting of 8 different kinds of yoga activities, has to be performed with the aim of coming to a perfectional stage of bhakti yoga. It is not acceptable for one to be satisfied simply by practicing the sitting posture and thinking himself complete. By meditation, one must attain the stage of devotional service. As previously described, a yogi is advised to meditate on the form of Lord Vishnu from point to point, from the ankles to the legs, to the knees, to the thighs, to the chest, to the neck, and in this way gradually up to the face and then to the ornaments. There is no question of impersonal meditation. When, by meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead in all detail, one comes to the point of love of God. This is the point of Bhakti Yoga. And at that point, he must actually render service to the Lord out of transcendental love. Anyone who practices yoga and comes to the point of devotional service can attain the supreme personality of Godhead in his transcendental abode. Here it is clearly stated, Purusha Purusham Vrajet. The Purusha, the living entities, goes to Supreme Person. The Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entities are qualitatively one. Both are defined as Purusha. The quality of Purusha exists both in the Supreme Godhead and in the living entity. Purusha means enjoyer, and the spirit of enjoyment is present both in the living entity and in the Supreme Lord. The difference is that the quantity of enjoyment is not equal. The living entity cannot experience the same quantity of enjoyment as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. An analogy may be made with a rich man and a poor man. The propensity for enjoyment is present in both, but the poor man cannot enjoy in the same quantity as the rich man. When the poor man dovetails his desire with those of the rich man, however, and when there is cooperation between the poor man and the rich man, or between the big and the small man, then the enjoyment is shared equally. That is like Bhakti Yoga, Purusha Purusham Vrajet. When the living entity enters into the kingdom of God and cooperates with the Supreme Lord by giving him enjoyment, he enjoys the same facility or the same amount of pleasure as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. On the other hand, when the living entity wants to enjoy by imitating the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his desire is called Maya, and it puts him in material atmosphere. A living entity who wants to enjoy on his personal account and not cooperate with the Supreme Lord is engaged in materialistic life. As soon as he dovetails his enjoyment with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is engaged in spiritual life. An example may be cited An example may be cited here. The different limbs of the body cannot enjoy life independently. They must cooperate with the whole body and supply food to the stomach. In so doing, all the different parts of the body enjoy equally in cooperation with the whole body. That is the philosophy of Achint Veda Ved, simultaneously oneness and difference. The living entity cannot enjoy life in opposition to the Supreme Lord. He has to dovetail his activities with the Lord by practicing Bhakti Yoga. It is said herein that one can approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead by either the yoga process or the Bhakti Yoga process. This indicates that factually there is no difference between yoga and Bhakti Yoga because the target of both is Vishnu. In the modern age, however, a yoga process has been manufactured which aims at something void and impersonal. Actually, yoga means meditation on the form of Lord Vishnu. If the yoga practice is actually performed according to the standard direction, there is no difference between yoga and Bhakti Yoga. I'll recite Mangala Charan prayer. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदां सह ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितां हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छाकल्पतरु विष्णु कृपा सिंधु पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे मुकुंद करोति वाचालं पवनं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनकारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं हरे कृष्ण। So I'll read translation once again. My dear mother, O daughter of Manu, a devotee who applies the science of devotional service and mystic yoga in this way can achieve the abode of the Supreme Person simply by the devotional service. So let's read the previous translation to understand this translation because it is continuation of the previous 3 to 4 translation. So the translation for the verse number 26 says, as the blazing fire of death, I can cause fear to whoever makes the least discrimination between himself and other living entities because of the differential outlook. Then 27. Therefore, through charitable gifts and attention, as well as through friendly behavior and by viewing all to be alike, one should propitiate me, who abide in all creatures as their very self. And then living entities as superior are superior to inanimate objects, O blessed mother. And among them, living entities who display life symptoms are better. Animals with developed consciousness are better than them, and better still are those who have developed sense perception. And then among the living entities who have developed sense perception, those have developed the sense of taste are better than those who have developed only the sense of touch. Better than them are those who have developed the sense of smell, and better still are those who have developed the sense of hearing. Then comes 30. Better than those living entities who can perceive sound are those who can distinguish between one form and another. Better than them are those who have developed upper and lower sets of teeth. And better still are those who have many legs. Better than them are the quadrupeds, and better still are the human beings. Then 31. Among human beings, the society which is divided according to the quality and work is best. This is Varnashram Dharma. And in that society, the intelligent man who are designated as Brahmanas are the best. Among the Brahmanas, one who has studied the Vedas is the best. And among the Brahmanas who have studied the Vedas, one who knows the actual purport of Veda is the best. And then 32, better than the Brahmana who knows the purpose of the Veda is he who dissipate all doubts, and better than him is one who strictly follows the Brahmanical principle. Better than him is one who is liberated from all material contamination, and better than him is a pure devotee who executes devotional service without expectation of reward. Then 33, therefore I do not find a greater person than he who has no interest outside of mine, and who therefore engages and dedicates all his activities and all his life, everything unto me without cessation. And then 34, such a perfect devotee offers respects to every living entity because he is under the firm conviction that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has entered the body of every living entity as the super soul or controller. And then today's verse, my dear mother, O daughter of Manu, a devotee who applies the science of devotional service and mystic yoga in this way can achieve the abode of the Supreme Person simply by that devotional service. So from the verse 26 to 35, we can see that Kapila Dev is describing the nature of the devotee. What should be the nature of the devotee? And especially this 35th verse is giving us the process of Abhideya and Prayojana. We know that any devotional service is basis on three things: Sambandha Gyan, Abhideya Gyan, and Prayojana. So here, when you read this translation, you can easily understand that there Abhideya means the process. Process is process is that we have to achieve Supreme Person, and then how we can achieve that Supreme Person is by devotional service. That is Prayojana. So here in the second sentence, it is that this in this way can achieve the abode of the Supreme Person. So achieve the abode of the Supreme Person is Prayojana, and simply by that devotional service is Abhideya. So that means that the process in this, just from 26 to 35, Kapila Dev has explained us what is the process and what is the goal. And then I was hearing on a lecture about Sambandha Gyan, Prayojana and Abhideya from Rompa Swami Maharaj. He was saying that to have the proper Prayojana and proper Abhideya, we need to have a proper Sambandha Gyan. And how we can get Sambandha Gyan? He was quoting three things with mind. Mind should be always focused towards devotional service of the Lord. and then should be in association of the devotees who loves to hear about Krishna and who loves to speak about Krishna. And also we should have friendly relationships with the people, not only the devotees but also any living entities. In that way we will we in that way we will attain supreme personality of Godhead. And if you see the verse 26th and 27th also, it is said that Kapila Muni is saying that you should have friendly relationship with devotees, you should offer them gifts, and then have a cordial relationship. And then coming to the next verse, Kapila Muni is also saying that you should see as everybody as everybody should be equal. You should not see anybody as somebody of lower being or somebody of higher being, because in everyone, in every living entity, supreme personality has entered as supreme, as spiritual supreme soul. So this is the process of doing bhakti yoga. And then in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that what is bhakti yoga? If you see in Damodar month, we offer ghee lamp to Lord. We offer 4 times to the feet, two times to the belly, 3 times to the lotus face, and 7 to the whole body. And the same process, Srila Prabhupada is also saying that when you meditate, to achieving supreme personality of Godhead, you should meditate on his features, very from point to point. First you should like meditate on ankles, and then legs, and then come knees, and then come thighs, and then we will go up, and then we'll meditate on the face, and then meditate on the ornaments, and meditate on the whole body. So that is what we are doing when we are offering ghee lamp. First we'll offer to the feet, and when we offer to the feet, we don't just mechanically offer it. We observe the lotus feet of the Lord. When we are in that 4 times of offering ghee lamp, we are observing how beautiful that lotus feet of the Lord looks, how soft they are, how it will be when we touch that lotus feet, how we'll feel, what will be our happiness, how much blissful we feel when we touch that lotus feet of the Lord. And then once we go above, when we his lotus belly, when we offer that ghee lamp to his lotus belly, we'll see that how beautiful Krishna's belly is, like how beautiful it is decorated by so many ornaments around his belly, and how beautiful Krishna is in his tree bending form. He's bent on his belly in near his waist. So how beautiful Krishna is looking, and how beautiful that form will be if we are if we are with Krishna. And we are always, when we are looking at Krishna in that way, we are always with Krishna. We will imagine, because Krishna, with our material eyes, we might not able to see Krishna, but we might able to realize, and we might able Krishna might able to reciprocate with our love when we try to see Krishna in that detail, and we try to feel how it will be when we will go to Krishna after performing devotional service. And then lotus face. Prabhupada has said in one purport that whoever meditates on the eyebrows of Krishna, his lust will go away. So if when offering ghee lamp at the lotus feast, we can observe how beautiful his eyes are, how beautiful his eyebrows are, how beautiful his flute, and how beautiful his his turban, and how beautiful all the features of Krishna are. So in that way, if we focus on the details, and if we see point to point, without our knowledge, after this 1 month of Kartik Mas, for sure we will start loving Krishna more, when and from the point we are loving him today, because it's said by Kapila Muni and Srila Prabhupada themselves that if you meditate on the point to point, you will get bhakti. And in the purpose, nowadays people think that just meditation without any purpose, like again that prayojana, every every meditation has a abhidheya process, sambandha process, abhidheya process, and prayojana process. Whether you take jnana yoga or with any yoga, Srila Prabhupada is saying that any yoga you take will culminate into Bhakti Yoga. So if it is culminating into Bhakti Yoga, to do Bhakti Yoga, we should have these three things for sure: Sambandha Gyan, and Prayojana. And then in today's modern meditation, especially in Buddhism philosophy and other impersonal meditation, they meditate Buddhism, especially Buddhists meditate on nothing. But if you meditate on, how can somebody meditate on nothing? There should be something to meditate. At least impersonal meditation is better because they are meditating on light. But Buddhists are just, it's very difficult to meditate on nothing. And with that process, it's very difficult to attain goal. And any process, the goal should be Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any meditation, the goal should be attaining the Supreme Person, and get that love towards, get that service to Supreme Person. But if we don't have anyone to meditate on, then what is our, what will be our destination? We will end up in nothing. And then we will, first of all, while it is said, my spiritual master always says that Bhakti Yoga, the process, the abhidheya process in Bhakti Yoga is joyful. People might struggle, people might think that it is very difficult because they are not following every instruction properly. If everybody follow every instruction given by spiritual master properly, even though it looks very difficult, but if we follow it, after some time it will become very joyful. And we will see that we are able to perform that same service which we were thinking very difficult, with with without any much effort, and it will be very joyful. So Bhakti Yoga process is joyful. But when you meditate on something which is nothing, then you will always be struggling, and the process is very difficult, and you will never attain it in many lifetimes also. There is a famous verse in Bhagavad Gita. I forgot the verse, but I know the meaning, that after many bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan, that verse, after many births, one person will come to Bhakti Yoga and he will perform a devotional service. So what are these many births? So in the many births, the person would have gone through all these processes, like meditating on nothing in for some lifetimes, and then he comes to a conclusion that that is not correct. And after few lifetimes, he will meditate on light. Then after few lifetimes, he comes to a conclusion that even that is not giving him some happiness. And then after, by the mercy of devotees, he might come to karma yoga, or he can directly come to bhakti yoga. But if he is coming from karma yoga, it has to culminate, if the process is very, if we follow the process properly, it has to culminate in bhakti yoga. That is what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Which uh, any yoga should culminate into bhakti yoga. Without bhakti yoga, anyone, nobody can be happy, whether it is prime minister or president of US, whether human being or demigod, nobody can be happy without bhakti yoga. And even the process is very joyful. Once we attain the goal, how much joy we'll have, we cannot imagine. Because what is the maximum happiness we can think of in our conditioned life? The maximum happiness we can think of is, as Yugal Kishore Prabhuji always says, our happiness is that happiness with, if we don't have any miseries around us. So that is our happiness. But that happiness is actually nothing. Even the most peaceful person, except the few devotees who are there present in this material world, everyone else is struggling. And we will have that experience of pure happiness, full bliss, only when we get rid of all our anarthas. Even though if we reach to the stage of ruchi, in the ruchi stage, even though we might have some anarthas, but still we'll feel happiness. And in asakti and then bhava, we will still feel happiness. But when we reach to the stage of prema, we'll not have any anarthas. And then at that time, what kind of happiness we'll feel, we cannot even imagine. So when people say, when here Prabhupada is saying that you should dovetail your all propensities to Krishna's enjoyment, then you will also feel the same enjoyment as Krishna is feeling. So how we can dovetail that? So then Srila Prabhupada is giving an example of a rich man and a poor man. If have rich man also enjoys, poor man also wants to enjoy, but their enjoyment is not equal because they are not equal in quantity. But if a poor man dovetail his happiness and cooperate with rich man will be very when rich man becomes happy, we will also become happy with their happiness, and we will also get the fruits of his happiness. For example, in Ramayana, all the monkeys and all the animals who helped Ram for conquering Ravan, they they were very happy in the process of war, and also they were happy after the war. Even though Ravana might have felt that humans and monkeys are his food, but but in feeling that since Ravana was very strong, and but he did not had any bhakti, he was very much miserable, even though for him they were actually nothing, but still he was very much miserable. But for monkeys, if you see from the monkeys point of view, for them, for example, it is like if we want to imagine, it is like an ant going and hitting a mountain. And then what is the probability that the mountain will get shaken by ant hitting the mountain? Zero. But then since monkeys dovetail their propensity of helping Ram in Ram's process, they could enjoy whatever Ram was enjoying. They had all the strength given by Ram, Lord Ram, and then they could even surpass the strength of Ravana. They were happy while performing in the war, and they were also happy after the war. And when Lord Ram took monkeys to Ayodhya in his kingdom, they were enjoying all the riches, all the happiness in Ayodhya, which Ram was also enjoying. So that is what Prabhupada is meaning to say, that we have to dovetail our propensities in in the spirit for enjoyment of Krishna, and then in that way we will also be happy. So the ultimate uh, ultimate lesson of this purport of this translation is that whether you do mystic yoga or whether you do any kind of yoga, it will culminate into devotional service if you are meditating on Supreme Personality of Godhead. In mystic yoga, or Ashtanga yoga, the process is that we have to follow eight eight rules and regulations: the yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyana, and then samadhi. And when you come to samadhi, your whole meditation is on the details of Supreme Personality of Godhead. You will be meditating on the details of Lord Vishnu. You will meditating on their lotus feet. You will be meditating on Lord Vishnu's ornaments. You will be meditating on Lord Vishnu's body. You will meditating on the Lord Vishnu's pastime. So that is those are, if you meditate on the details of Lord Supreme Personality of Godhead, then you are doing devotional service, and you will attain Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is what Srila Prabhupada is stressing on, that doing devotional service, bhakti yoga is very easy. You just have to meditate on the details of the Lord, either on the pastimes or on the qualities or on guna, like guna, rupa, leela, any of these three. If you meditate on the details of Supreme Personality of Godhead, you will attain bhakti, and you will attain Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. And today is the Tirobhav of Narottam Das Thakur. I want to take just 5 minutes to glorify Narottam Das Thakur. So Narottam Das Thakur was the son of a rich king, and from his childhood, he he was very much inclined for devotional service. And then after some time, he left his home. He came to Vrindavan, and he started associating with Jiva Goswami, and he was kept under the training, under the what to say, and under the guidance of Jiva Goswami. And with Narottam Das Thakur, there was Shamanand Pandit, and also Ram. Who was the other person? Shamanand Pandit, Narottam Das, Shrivas Thakur, Srinivas Thakur. Sorry, Srinivas Acharya. So they were three together, and Jiva Goswami gave them a task of doing book distribution. So book distribution also there at that time. They acquired a cart, and they went into different places to do book distribution. And at that time, spiritual master of Narottam Das Thakur was very sick. He was going through cholera, and Narottam Das Thakur wanted to serve his spiritual master in his sickness. He did not wanted to leave his spiritual master, but his spiritual master gave him instruction that no, you have to go and do book distribution instead of serving me. If you do, and if you spread the knowledge of Krishna, I will be very much happy. So Narottam Das Thakur knew if he leave from that place today, he might never able to see spiritual master again. And that is what happened. After when Narottam Das came after few years, Lokanath Goswami had already left this material world, and he has entered into spiritual world. But here's the point. Here we have to learn one thing, that and I can correlate from today's verse, that Narottam Das Thakur, even though it was very difficult for him to leave spiritual master and go for his service, he still followed the instruction of his spiritual master. And because he followed the instruction of his spiritual master, he got the blessings of the spiritual master, and he got the blessings of some other devotees. And in that way, he could able to distribute this Krishna conscious process to so many people. And then because he got blessing from his spiritual master, he wrote this famous Guru Ashtakam, which we sorry Guru Vandana, Guru Vandana, which we speak, which we recite every day in the morning. And you can see in the verses of his Guru Vandana that Shri Guru Charana Padma, Kevala Bhakti Sadma. So he's speaking, he's writing all his realizations in his Guru Vandana. So if we read it carefully, we will come to an understanding that only by serving Guru and only by following a spiritual master, even though it is very difficult, we will get that kind of love, and nobody else can give us that kind of love except spiritual master. So our goal to reach supreme personality of Godhead can only be fulfilled by spiritual master, because he is with he is experiencing Krishna and he knows how to please Krishna. And he knows how to please Krishna, and with that knowledge, he's giving us the instruction to follow with our consciousness what we can do in our consciousness to please Krishna. So that is the important thing. Somebody who have something can only give us that thing. Otherwise, they cannot give us that thing. So spiritual master have that love, have attained that prema, and is experiencing Krishna and is seeing Krishna. And because spiritual master have Krishna with him, spiritual master know how to please Krishna. He also knows what is our consciousness, and he comes to our level of consciousness and he gives us instruction. So if we follow those instructions, our consciousness will be increased and our adhikar will also increase. And then spiritual master will be pleased, by that Krishna will also be pleased. And if that happens, we have attained our prayojana, we have attained our goal. So the only way to attain Krishna is to please spiritual master. And once we please spiritual master, we will be already pleasing other devotees. Otherwise, spiritual master will not be pleased. So we have to always try to please devotees and spiritual master. Krishna will be automatically pleased. And and when we were speaking about the details, focusing on the details, even though if we look at Krishna in the temple, or even if we think, we might not able to focus on the details. If it was that easy, then everybody could have become bhakti yogi and attained Krishna very easily. It is not that easy to focus. Even though we are just seeing, but we are not focusing on the details. We might see, oh, ornament, yeah, anklet is very good, Krishna's turban is very good. But actually, are we really feeling that, oh, Krishna's turban is very good, Krishna's anklet is very good, he's Krishna himself? Are we really feeling it? It's very difficult until and unless we have mercy of Guru, mercy of devotees. So our aim is to always please Guru and Krishna and devotees. So today, that is what I wanted to speak. If anybody wants to add anything, please add. And please correct me if I have spoken anything wrong. Hare Krishna. Do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions on this?
Roji, no questions. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. I personally like the point which you shared. Every yoga process actually culminated into Sambandha, Abhidaya, and Prayojana. That was a wonderful point. I also liked the point of monkeys which you talked about. What is the possibility of an ant to move a mountain or shake a mountain? But just by the empowerment of the Lord, even the monkeys can actually were able to defeat Ravana and his armies. That was wonderful, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much, Shivaji. Whatever I heard, I spoke for it. Thank you. If nobody have any questions, then we'll end this class.
Prabhuji, no question, but I really like the point where you brought about how we offer, 4237 and what we should do, and how nicely you emphasized at the end of Kartik, we will have more love towards Krishna. That was very hope-giving point. Thank you so much.
Mataji. So we'll end this class now. Vancha kalpatarubhishya kripa sindhu vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय. शिला प्रभुपाद की जय. समवेत
Jai.
जय.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
For the wonderful class.